Hi everybody, this is the Unit 4 7th grade end of unit assessment review. We're going to start with number 1. Priya has a recipe for banana bread. She uses 7.5 cups of flour to make 3 loaves of banana bread. Andre will follow the same recipe. He will make B loaves of banana bread using F cups of flour. Which of these equations represents the relationship between B and F? So in order to solve this problem, we want to look at the problem as a whole. We want to understand what is actually going on with this problem. So one thing you want to look at, if you look at these equations it gives you to choose from, the structure is familiar. We know that the structure is a proportional relationship because our proportional equation is y is equal to mx. And that's the same structure we have for all of these. So if we make a table, and instead of y and x, we use B for bread and F for flour. And it gives us one relationship here between flour and bread. It says 7.5 cups of flour to 3 loaves of bread. So going back to our equation, we know that m is the rate. So which one of these equations gives us the rate of how much flour for a loaf of bread? Right, so how much flour for a loaf of bread, or how many loaves of bread per cups of flour? So there's two ways we can look at this. Do we want to know the cups of flour per loaves of bread, or the loaves of bread per cups of flour? So we want to know, all these equations tell us that we want to know how much bread per cups of flour. So when we set up our ratio to find our unit rate of bread per cups of flour, we set it up as a fraction, and whatever we want to know what one of, we want to know the per cups of flour, right? So we want to put flour as the denominator and bread as the numerator. And if we put our values that it gives us, bread is 3 loaves of bread per 7.5 cups of flour. If we divide these, it'll tell us how much bread per 1 cup of flour. So we want to know 3 divided by 7.5, or 3 divided by 7.5. We could do that on a calculator, or we can do it by hand. I'm just going to do it by hand, so I'm going to go 3 over 1 times, I'm going to change this to an improper fraction. 7 times 2 plus 1 is 15. So 3 over 1 times the reciprocal of this, so it's actually 2 over 15. Three times 2 is 6. 1 times 15 is 15. So 3 goes into 6 2 times. 3 goes into 15 5 times. So we get, for every 1 cup of flour, we have 2/5 loaves of bread. So the correct equation here would be B. another way, since it's multiple choice, you could take this 3 and 7.5 from our table that we made. Bread is 3, flour is 7.5, and replace the variables and see which one of these equations work. Since we already know that B is correct, let's try that one first. So in place of B, we're going to put 3. 2/5 times 7.5. So when we multiply 2/5 times 7.5, we should get 3. So let's check that. 2/5 times 15/2 is 30/10, which does simplify to 3. So now we know that this one is correct. Okay, let's look at number 2. Diego measured the length of a pen to be 22 centimeters. The actual length of the pen is 23 centimeters. Which of these is closest to the percent error for Diego's measurement? So percent error is equal to the difference between the actual measured length and the actual length and the measured length. So we could see the difference here is a difference of 1 centimeter divided by the actual length. So the actual length is 23 centimeters. So our difference is 1/23. So if we change that to a decimal and then change it to a percent, 1 divided by 23 is 0.043, and we change that to a percent by multiplying times 100, and that moves the decimal place over twice to 4.3%. And we can see that is A. Number 3. A car is 180 inches long. A truck is 75% longer than the car. How long is the truck? So there's a few ways we could go about finding this answer. One way is to find 75% of the car and add that length to the car's length, and that would be the truck's length. So the truck's length is equal to the car's length plus 75% of the car's length. So to find 75% of the car's length, so 75% of 180, so we're going to take 180 times 0.75, because 0.75 is 75%. So 75% of 180. So of means to multiply. 0.75 times 180 is 135. So the car's length is 180, and the truck's length is 75% longer, and 75% is 135. So 180 plus 135 is 315 inches. Another way to look at this, you could say that instead of 75% of 180, and then adding it. You can do it all in one operation. You could take 180 times 1.75. So this 1 represents the whole length of the car, right? Because 1 times 180 is 180. And then we go ahead and add on the 0.75. That would be 75% more than the whole. So 180 times 1.75. 180 times 1.75 is also 315. Okay, number 4. A circular running track is 1/4 of a mile long. Elena runs on this track, completing each lap in 1/20th of an hour. What is Elena's running speed? Include the unit of measure. So we know the distance of the track is 1/4 of a mile, and it takes her 1/20th of an hour to run that 1/4 of a mile. So when you think about speed, you can say a common one is miles per hour, and since we have miles an hour, that might be a good unit to use. Those might be good units to use. So let's go ahead and find how fast Elena runs in miles per hour. So when we say miles per hour, that means how many miles does she go? How many miles does she go in 1 hour? So one way of solving this, we could do a table, right? We could do a table, and we could put miles over here, hours over here. So she goes 1/4 of a mile in 1/20th of an hour, and we want to know how far does she go in 1 whole hour, right? How far does she go in 1 whole hour? So what are we going to multiply 1/20th by to get up to 1 whole hour? So we're going to have to multiply that by 20, right? If we have 1/20th of an hour, 20 of those would equal 1 hour. So we're multiplying this times 20. So that means we scale this up also 20 times. So 1/4 times 20 will tell us this number, which is how many miles in 1 hour. So 1/4 times 20 is 20 over 4, which simplifies to 5 over 1. So 5 miles per hour. Another thing you can do is, you remember unit rate. If we want to find unit rate, we want to know how many miles per 1 hour. So we put 1/4 over 1/20th, right? Miles per hour, and we divide. 1/4 divided by 1/20th. 1/4 divided by 1/20th. Or 1/4 times 20 over 1. And that is exactly what we have over here. We can see we get the same answer of oops, that's a 4. 5 over 1. So 5 miles per hour. Number 5. Today, everything at a store is on sale. The store offers a 20% discount. The regular price of a t-shirt is $18. What is the discount price? So again, there's 2 ways of looking at this. Either the cost, the final cost, is equal to the t-shirt price minus 20% discount, right? 20% of the t-shirt price. So we're going to take the t-shirt price and subtract 20% of that. So if we take 18 and find 20% of 18, then subtract it, that will give us the discount price. So 18 times 0.2 is $3.60. So 18 minus 360, oops, 18 minus 3.6 is $14.40. Another way we could look at this is, instead of the 18 minus 20% of 18, we could say the total cost is, well, if we get 20% off, that means we're paying 80%, right? We're paying 80% of the price. We aren't paying 100%. We get the 20% off, so we only have to pay 80%. So we could say it is 0.8, which is 80% of the shirt. So if we go in our calculator again and put in 0.8 times 18, we also get 1440. So up here, 20% off of the shirt is $14.40, or 80% of the shirt is $14.40. If the regular price of an item is X dollars, what is the discount price in dollars? So the discount price is, well, these two equations up here. Either the regular price minus 20% of the regular price, or 80% of the regular price. So either one of these would work. Either one of these expressions would work for B. Question C says the discount price of a hat is $18. What is the regular price? So this one's a little different. This one, this $18 is already the discount price. So either of these is equal to the discount price. I'm going to use this one. 0.8, 80% of the original price is $18. So 0.8 times something is $18. So how do we find this? How do we find this X? This number times this number is this number. So if we take the 18, divide it by 0.8, that will tell us what we multiply 0.8 by to get to 18. It's like a fact family, right? 18 times X, or 18 divided by 0.8 is X. So 18 divided by 0.8. So we're going to put that in the calculator. 18 divided by 0.8 is $22.50. So the original price is $22.50, and if we take 20% off of that, we only pay 80%. We only pay 80% of that, we get $18. Okay, number 6. Lynn's father is paying $20 for a meal. He has a 15% off coupon for the meal. After the discount, a 7% sales tax is applied. What does Lynn's father pay for the meal? Explain or show your reasoning. So the meal itself is $20, right? If you go to a restaurant and you order some food off the menu, it gives you the price in there, and but that price that it tells you does not include the tip and the tax or any discounts. So if he orders something for $20, that's not really what he pays. He has a 15% off coupon, so he gets 15% off the $20. So let's find that first. 15% off of $20. So remember the two ways. We could take $20 minus 15% of $20, or if it's 15% off, then we have to pay 85%, right? Because if this 20 represents 100%, 100% minus 15% is 85% of 20. So you'll get the same answer with either of these. I'll do this one first. 15% of 20. 15% times 20 is $3. So he gets $3 off. So he only pays $17 for the meal instead of 20 because he has a 15% off coupon. So 0.85 times 20 should equal 17. So let's check it because he only pays 85%. He doesn't pay 100%. 0.85 times 20 is $17. All right. So now he pays $17, and after the discount, which we just did, a 7% sales tax is applied, so he actually pays the $17 plus 7% of $17. So he pays this whole amount plus 7% of the whole amount, or the whole amount plus 17. So if we take 17 plus, well, we'll just figure this out. 7% of $17. 7% of $17. So 17 times 0.07, because 0.07 is 7%. That's $1.19. So he pays $1.19 plus $17. So 17 plus $1.19 sales tax is $18.19. The other way to figure that out is, since we pay 7% tax, since we pay the 7% tax, he pays the whole amount, right? The 1 represents the whole amount, and this 0.07 represents the 7% tax. So 17 times 1.07, we should get $18.19 also. So 17 times 1.07 is $18.19. So two different ways to look at that problem. All right. Number 7. Tyler's brother works in a shoe store. Tyler's brother earns a commission. He makes 2.5% of the amount he sells. Last week he sold $900 worth of shoes. How much was his commission? So we need to find 2.5% of 900. What is 2.5% of 900? Well, this of means to multiply, right? 2.5% as a decimal, we're going to go 1, 2, 0.025, 0.025 times 900, 0.025 times 900, $22.50. So his commission was $22.50, the shoes he sold. Question B. The store bought a pair of shoes for $50 and sold it for $80. What percentage was the markup? So this is very similar to percent error, except it's called percent change. What was the percent change? So we want to know the difference between 50 and 80 divided by the original amount. That'll give us the fraction that we can make into a decimal, which we can make into a percent. So the difference is $30. The original amount was $50. So that 30 divided by 50 is 0.6. 30 divided by 50 is 0.6. And if we change that to a percent, 1, 2, it changes to 60%. So that was a 60% markup. Question C. Tyler's brother earns $12 per hour. The store offers him a raise, a 5% increase per hour. After the raise, how much will Tyler's brother make per hour? So if we take 5% of $12 and then add it back onto his $12, that will tell us the total amount he makes per hour. So he's going to make us $12 plus he's going to make 5% of the $12. So if we just look at this part, 5% of $12 is 5% as a decimal, boom, boom, 0.05. Of means to multiply 12. So 0.05 times 12. 0.05 times 12 is 0.6. So that's 60 cents, right? So 12 plus, he gets a 60 cents raise. So total, he's going to make $12.60 per hour after his raise. Another way to look at this, another way to look at it is we can take the 12 and multiply it times 1.05, right? The whole amount of 12 plus 5% more. So 12 times 1.05 should give us 1260. 12 times 1.05 is 1260. And it looks like we are done. That's it. So if you have any questions, come see me. Catch you guys in the next one.